The big man. Luke and
There he is.
We're back with your guys' favorite segment. And I'm a little bit worried because I'm coming off one of the best massages I've ever had. And the last time this happened, I misread just about every single question. So please bear with me. If there's any mistakes, Cage, I apologize. I apologize in advance.
All right. So I had to listen. Yeah, I'm sure you'll do fine. And what was her name?
Alicia.
Nice. So a massage from someone named Alex. Good job. Well done.
I don't go that route, but the hilarious part is for this entire year that we've been in Mexico with our family, anytime my parents are here, they do get a massage from Alex.
See, there you go. Both parents get a massage from Alex.
Both parents, straight up.
Wow.
We've talked about this. Not my cup of tea. I only like to get massaged by the other sex. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I just can't relax. I can't relax. Here's the kicker. Alex is actually gay too.
Okay. Well, so here's the real kicker. So the next time that I get a massage it'll actually be a like what do they call that? A monumental number, like an anniversary number or whatever it is. Because the next time I get a massage, it will be. I'm trying to count now. My fingers. Maybe I take my. It will be the first time I ever got a massage.
No way.
The next time will be the first time. So listen. I don't want people touching me. Keep your hands to yourself.
Okay, I guess one of your love languages is not physical touch.
Don't touch me. And hey, anybody touches me or any of my stuff, I'll kill you.
You're such a fool. It's the
you
greatest
have no
thing
idea
for
what that's from.
So
that's
welcome
from the movie
back
Stripes. Stripes. Bill Murray.
Okay. So you have had a massage?
No, I have not. But that line by Francis. He says, any of you call me psycho. Any of you touch me or my stuff, and I'll kill you. That's what he says. It's a great.
Do you ever get stuck in character?
I'm always in character. This is my character.
Okay.
I live life in character.
Does the family ever know when you're like dropping one-liners from movies or when you're being serious?
So my kids have started speaking in movie lines. I'm sure this is no surprise to you. So they will actually start dropping movie lines. Today, Ian quoted Coming to America. It's just great stuff. I love it.
All right. Well, welcome back to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronze. This is your Coffee with Cage episode. I think this is the all-time favorite segment. People love this. We have a ton of questions to get through today. Real quick, though. We had a question from John. Really basic stuff, okay? Are you ready for it?
Ready.
Keurig or coffee pot?
Oh, God. So it's coffee pot, and like old style coffee pot, like one of those like, the kettle type, like put the coffee in the top and like put a filter. Everybody's a Keurig person. There's something about like leaching the water through a plastic container, that just doesn't sit right with me with the K cups and the Keurig, but that would not be my quote cup of coffee or cup of tea, however you want to say it.
Okay, first question. It's from your co-host, Mr. Andrew Goldberg. Okay.
Oh, nice. And this is what happens when everybody goes to Dallas. The Coffee with Cage questions have to come from you. Everybody's too busy buying and selling cards.
Well, I have a feeling that this is going to blend into Dallas, and it's going to be a little bit of your macro thesis on the hobby, a little bit of what we have been wanting to discuss all week. But I'm going to start it with a little bit of a left field question, and you can go with it as you wish.
Sweet.
The NBA Top Shot.
Uh-huh.
Auctions and selling outside of the platform through eBay, through Golden, etc. Previously, it was done through gifting, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You had a conversation with them. Do you want to talk about what you see for the future of NBA Top Shot sales outside of the platform?
So it's funny you asked this. One of the things I didn't mention to you is, they have office hours every week. And one of the things that Jacob mentioned in his office hours is that they are working on opening up sales off their platform, like through OpenSea or through other, other platforms that do like kind of, yeah.
Just to touch on that, they don't explicitly ban selling outside their platform, and they kind of endorse it, not specifically. I don't know if that's the right way to word it.
No, well, I mean, listen, they want to be protective, obviously, because the biggest concern is selling it off the platform and someone gets it. It's a no backsies thing. That's part of what makes it, what it's all about, right? So I think what they're concerned is if they do it off the platform, somebody does it off the platform, and then they don't get paid, or the person takes their money back, or they make a charge back through PayPal or credit card or however someone pays, an off their platform transaction, they can't help them. I mean, they can try to help them, but it's no longer something that they can reverse or take care of on their own platform. So I think that's why they're trying to avoid that. But yeah, I mean, you know, we've seen these things for sale on eBay and on auctions, and right now I believe the only way to do that off the marketplace is by gifting, which it's a leap of faith, no matter how you want to indicate it. I mean, and it is a great thing, right? Because taking a leap of faith in this hobby, I mean, I'm willing to do it with people I trust, with people I've got a relationship with. But we talked about this with Eric from Loop, and basically, I say that the thing that's scary is with the amount of money that's involved, with the amount of value that cards have out there, and moments would have out there. It's tougher to do those kind of deals, right? Even someone who you think has 1,000 feedback on eBay, or someone who's got vouchers, or someone's on a Facebook group, they'll screw you over. And can I jump right into what you showed me on Jeremy Padower's account? On
Mhm.
his story. Can I jump right in? It's a perfect segue. I mean, I don't want to take you off Top Shot, right? But it is worth mentioning. I mean, I'm not going to mention the name. You guys can go and check it out. Check out Jeremy Padower's story and the posts surrounding it. I posted today about it also. And basically, Jeremy bought a card from the seller, and some form of mistake, the seller sent this card to the wrong address, or it ended up in the wrong place, right? It did not end up with Jeremy. And I'm sure between the seller and Jeremy, that's been worked out because Jeremy never got the card. And let me also just go on a little tangent here, as I've been known to do. Jeremy is the best person in the world to deal with. I have sold him cards, 4-figure cards. First transaction we ever had was a one solo card, 4-figure, and it did not arrive timely. It was one of those where I sent it, and it was during COVID, and I sold him a card, and you know he was the chillest person in the world about it. He was like, I know it'll get here. I see the tracking. Don't worry about it. Like, wasn't like, hey, we're gonna have to start a case. Here's the countdown of the days. Like, he was legit. Like, so something like this happening to him, that's horrible, right? Because of all people, it should happen to. It should be to the person who. Well, first of all, it should happen to no one. But of all people, it should not happen to him. But here's what happened after that transaction transpired. I believe recently the person who ended up with this card, and it is a rare card. Like that's the problem, right? You know what the card is. It's in a PSA slab. There's not that many of them in a 10. And when I'm talking about not that many, I'm talking about like single digits in a 10. And the person who ended up with it tried to sell it. And that's not cool. So take a look at that story, take a look at that post, and if you're one of the people out there who is into these cards, it's a Pokemon card, who's into these cards, and this one happens to come across your timeline, or someone's offering it to you, think twice about potentially dealing with this person, especially because I'm sure there's going to be a criminal investigation into it, and you might wind up buying the card and not end up keeping it if you're thinking you're going to be the end consumer of this card. So, and now I won't mention the name is in there in the post, so I want you guys to all read it. But I'll just talk directly to the person who owns this card presently, the person who currently has the card in their hands. Do the right thing, man. That's all anybody wants. This is a tight knit community. It is a tight knit hobby, and here's a daily podcast seeing it, picking it up, and now going to tell thousands of people out there that you should go check this out and be aware, right? And not deal with this person, because this is not the way that stuff gets done in our hobby. So to the person holding this card, do the right thing. You know who the card belongs to. You know who should get this card back. You know what should be done. And, it's almost like one of those, I'm sure it's a no questions asked kind of thing, man. Go ahead and do the right thing. And then you avoid criminal investigation, potential prosecution, and all that stuff, right? So reach out to the people who have posted this stuff. Tell them, yeah, you got the card. You didn't know, who cares? Just do the right thing. So anyway, I sorry I digress on that, but it's like a topic du jour, and I don't like to see somebody like Jeremy, who's a friend of the show, have something like that happen to them, or the seller, because ultimately Jeremy, he's doing fine, but the seller, is out the money. Go ahead.
In Call of Duty Black Ops, I think it was the second one, they always said, "Well, I digress," and I can go you every time. But other than ethics aside, what do you think is legal? The legal, like, what can happen to the guy who has the card?
So I have not researched where it is, right, or where the thing was shipped, or where this person is trying to sell it. But depending on what state they're in, and whether across state lines and whatnot, and the value of this card, which I think is pretty significant,
The
it could
monster.
be, it could be like you're beyond like petty larceny, because
Yeah.
now, so it's one thing to take possession of something that you don't know is someone else's, right? But now I think you can make the argument that this person is fully aware of the origin of the card, the owner of the card. The owner has made their claim for the card, publicized it. I'm sure they reached out to them and probably let them know that they've gotten the authorities involved, to now go and try to sell this thing that they don't really have ownership of. When you're a kid, you hear possessions 9/10 of the law. That's not exactly true. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, it's a precarious situation. It really is. And this is one of those times where PSA, it's an interesting thing, right? This card is still in the holder, and it's easily identifiable because of that. So but yeah, guys, take a look. It's just one of those things that happens in the hobby that I think we all wish wouldn't happen. And my hope is maybe one of our listeners knows this person. Maybe one of you guys, a member of Luca Nation, someone listening to this, knows the person who's holding this card now and knows he's a decent guy, but he's gotten caught up in something. Maybe he made a mistake, whatever it may be. Maybe reach out to him, send him an email, send a message. Maybe it's someone you've dealt with before. Send a message and say, look, just do the right thing. I mean, they're no one's gonna hold it against you now. Just do the right thing, and basically, like, all is forgiven. At least that's the way I would be.
Okay. Well, that's a good start to the podcast. Derek asks, have we seen the peak of MLB card prices for 2021? How much do you think on-field performance will affect prices this year? I'm wondering if the MLB market will experience what happened with the NFL. Prices spike with the hype of the season and then dips across the board, except for a select few players.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think it would be silly to think something other than that would happen, because we see it time in and time out every year. Doesn't really matter what the sport is, right? So we see the lead up to the season, hype, 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 hype. And then, a couple weeks into the season, especially baseball, which is a long season with a lot of games, you see most of the hype drop off. But for some, that hype is going to continue because somebody will start off hot, right? Somebody is going to have a great first month. Somebody's going to have 10, 12 home runs in that first month, whether it's Tatis or Betts or Pete Alonso or Joe Adele or who the heck knows who it's going to be, Louis Robert. Somebody's going off on a tear, and those cards will continue to go up. It'll be difficult to continue that unless you have one of those, like, the whole season. I remember a couple of years ago when I really got back into this, and I was a Yankee fan. Didi Gregorius started the season off like in MVP form and had like a bunch of home runs, and he was on pace for 40-something home runs in the first month. And his first Bowman card, which was selling for $1, went up to like $20. And I remember buying a bunch of them, going, "Oh, Didi's gonna be the MVP." And then, of course, the next month he fell off, and the cards are back to like $4. And I'm like, "Oh wow, I got a lot of Didis that will never go back up." So yes, I think, to answer the question, I think we're going to see the exact same pattern. And then, the All-Star break, after that, the cards of the people who are performing well and are in the MVP race and potential playoffs will start to pick up steam again when people start to pay attention to baseball, when the games start to matter, and they make a run. A little wrinkle in baseball that I expect to see this year, and I'm starting to see it already. It used to just be what's going on eBay. And I'll use Tatis as a perfect example, right? So because I know the cards, I sell the cards, I buy the cards, so I've been following the pricing. Tatis's cards were selling higher than $300 on eBay. They still are. And some of them were going as high as 350, 370, 380. I mean, pretty high prices for his PSA 10 tops, the 410, the Series 2 card from 2019. And it used to be, what the card was at because you could just eBay price. Well, right now, as we speak, you can buy that card in PSA 10 on Star Stock for $299. Which, I mean, is it cheap? Could you find one for $299 on eBay also? Maybe. But they're available on Star Stock for $299. So why does that matter? Okay, a couple things. Number one, I think the baseball market's going to be impacted by Star Stock more than any of the other ones because they're ramped up. It'll be the first sport that has a full run for them. Beginning of season, end season, you name it. And I think baseball, and Andrew, you've made this analogy or this comparison, where I think baseball is the most easily transferable for like a daily fantasy, right? Which I think you're going to see more of with Star Stock this year. Maybe not with Tatis's PSA 10, but I think you're going to be able to have more of a day-to-day, week-to-week swing on pricing on that platform, especially. Previously, I would say, yes, if somebody had a good game or a couple good games, you'd see their card go up. But take it from somebody who last year, Aaron Judge didn't have that great of a year, but he started off really hot, right? He had like 10 home runs, and, he was, wow, this guy's looking really good, And I sold a bunch of his cards. Well, guess what? I still have them. Why? Because the people who bought them from me after he had that 10 home runs in 10 games or whatever the heck it was that he had that huge hot start, they all returned them because he fell off and then got hurt. Well, that's not happening on Star Stock. So I think we're definitely going to see a little bit of a different, trend this year, at least because now you have so many other platforms and so many ways to play cards. And I think, something like Star Stock for baseball, I'm excited to use it. I'm excited to go in there and try to, predict who's like a fantasy sleeper. And then, as we get closer to the baseball season, maybe we'll work that in like a preview episode, card plays for Star Stock as well. Still with me, my friend?
Yes, I'm with you. I was talking on mute. So sorry.
This is what happens. See, you had the massage and
Yep.
you just fell asleep.
Yep. Sorry, Cells asks. Approach to investing in goats when they've reached all-time highs, but could still be undervalued. Looking at the Durant Topps Chrome PSA 10, for example, it's somewhat simple to identify dips, but what about when it hasn't dipped?
So I loved this question until you got to Durant. So the question was, and this is don't. I'm going to go off on a little bit of a little cage heater here. So I'm sorry.
Goats.
It's you Durant. Said goats. You said what do you do with goat cards? The question. No. The question was what do you do with goat cards when they're at their all-time highs? And then for a great example, Durant. So let me just say this, and I'm going to throw it out there. Kevin Durant is not a goat. Okay. So Kevin Durant is not a goat, and I'll say it a third time. In case somebody's listening to me tonight in Dallas after buying 500 Kevin Durant cards, because from what I hear, if you're in Dallas, you're buying Durant right now and selling everything else. So Gary V, he put it out there in the world, buy Durant, and everybody's buying Durant. I got a bridge here in Brooklyn for you guys to buy too. Gary, you want to make that happen? Just tell people to buy the Brooklyn Bridge, please. See what they do. So anyway, Kevin Durant, not a GOAT. You want to tell me he's a potential top 15 player? Sure. Okay. Fine. All right. I'll give you that. But I don't see people in Dallas going.
How are you supposed to buy a Brooklyn Bridge? I don't get it. I'm still confused.
You can't buy the Brooklyn Bridge. That's what makes it. Anyway, whatever. Just forget it. Just Google it.
It's my least favorite bridge. Or is that the Manhattan Bridge? The one with all those like wood like it's like wooden. And it's impossible to bike over. It's literally a pain in the butt. I'm a Williamsburg Bridge guy all day.
All right. This doesn't surprise me, hipster. So, but anyway, listen, it is what it is, man. This is, at least the bridges for the East River Crossing. Well done. You got all three of them. Well done. I'm impressed.
New York is one of the coolest cities in the world, bar none. I hope it makes a comeback. I really do. It's one of the best cities.
It definitely is a lot of fun. But Kevin Durant. So, is anybody in Dallas buying Shaq cards? I mean, you guys are all buying Shaq cards? No. I mean, you could right now buy a pop just over 300 Upper Deck Shaq #1 iconic card for a couple $1,000. No, everybody's buying Kevin Durant. Well, Shaq's a top 15 player of all time. Kevin Durant might be. Some would argue Shaq's a top 10, top 5 maybe player of all time, but nobody cares. right?
So I've been saving this argument for so long, and now I'm so ready.
Good. I can't wait.
He's the most overrated player in the history of the NBA. And I'll tell you why.
Well, I'm going to name 4 other players that are in the same boat as Durant who are not GOATs either. But go ahead. Tell me about Shaq.
So for the longest time, I thought, okay, maybe there's some merit to this. Kobe. Oh, good. Cage turned off the video as expected.
Yeah, because you were a little it was a little scratchy. So when I'm talking, when I'm talking, you go off the video, and I figured the audio quality is better. So now you're talking, I went off the video because
I go off the video to go on Instagram to read the questions from our beloved audience.
But anyway, I'm sorry.
I thought there was truth to the Shaq carried Kobe argument. But do you remember who was the point guard when Shaq was on the Lakers in 1998, 1999? Nick the Quick. Nick Van Exel was there.
Nicky
Eddie
Van,
Jones
yes.
was there. That team was stacked when Kobe was
Wait, hold on. So because they had Nick Van Exel and Eddie Jones, they were stacked?
Nick the Quick is a solid player. If you can't win with Nick the Quick and you're one of the top 5 players in the NBA, in NBA history, he needed Kobe to mature to become the superstar of that team so that Shaq could be the Pippin of the team. Because he couldn't win without Kobe. With
Shaq is the Pippin?
Yep.
Shaq's the Pippin. So how many MVPs of the finals did Pippin win? When he was playing with Jordan.
I do not value MVPs. I've told you this. So let me just real quick.
So the answer is none.
Yeah, I don't care about MVPs because Andre Iguodala got an MVP in the finals, and it's irrelevant. But let me read you real quick, okay?
Deserved it.
So,
yeah.
Nick the Quick was on the team in 98, okay? Glenn Rice was on the team in 98. Eddie Jones.
Glenn Rice
was good, man.
Yes, he was very, very good. Glenn Rice was very, very good.
Wouldn't say very, very good, but these are not bad players.
Right. So how many of those guys you just named ever won an MVP award?
None.
Right. Okay. So back to the original question, which is Kevin Durant. He's now won one. What did he win with the Golden State? One championship over there with two on a team that was the greatest team of all time and had an MVP on it. And he's now in Brooklyn, and the cards are priced already for him winning a championship this year. And guess what? He's got another MVP on his team, and he's playing with another guy who's already won a championship and another guy who averaged triple-double for an entire season. And you're going to tell me that he's a GOAT? Are you really going to now tell me that you think that Durant is on the same level as Kobe? Is that the argument you're making, or are you just shitting on Shaq? Because I'll go to another player. I mean, I'm just talking about GOATs.
Well, actually, Luca Nation knows me. I'm pretty pragmatic. I like Shaq a lot. I just want to bring up the argument that team in 1998, it was a shortened season, though, I believe. I think it was a strike season. Is that right, Cage?
Because I think it was shortened, but
it was.
But
they finished 31 and 19, Cage.
Yeah, but if you're asking me all-time ranking, I'm putting Kobe ahead of Shaq. But to say that Shaq's overrated is kind of silly. I mean, he put up ridiculous numbers and won championships.
Why couldn't he win that championship without Kobe being in his prime? He needed Kobe.
Why couldn't Kobe win his first championships without Shaq carrying him?
I mean, it's a lot of good points. I was just watching 1998.
Can we say they're both great? Can we say they're both great players? And Kevin Durant's not as good as any of them?
Yeah, Durant could go off to the left. But I was looking at highlights from 1997, 1998 with Nick the Quick and that old school Lakers team before they won.
I love Nick, by the way, and I love Eddie Jones. But those guys are scrubs by comparison to people we're talking to. They're good NBA players. They're great players. Van Exel was a second-round draft pick. You know this, right?
Van Exel he's got a first-round nickname, Nick the Quick. How can you not win with Nick the Quick? And you got Shaq.
That dude looked like a Martian. But anyway, I digress. but yeah, he was a very good player, and the Lakers were a very good team. And yes, but Shaq took a team to the finals before he got to the Lakers, right? And yes, he lost. Yes, he did not win. He took Jordan to the brink, and then the following year he lost to Hakeem Olajuwon. Both greats. And that's before Kobe was in like a high school gym at the time that was happening, right?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. So then here's the real moment of truth, Cage, and we'll move to the next question. In their prime, you're a GM, you get the first round pick. You taking Shaq or Durant? First pick of the draft in their prime.
Okay, so right, if I'm drafting right now, I'd have to think about it. When Shaq was playing, I would take Shaq in a second because it's a different game. It's a tough question to ask, right? The game is like Shaq right now. The value of Shaq is an interesting thing because you have to play a different style of basketball than what has won championships over the last however long it's been, right? So Joel Embiid might win the MVP this year, right? Maybe.
Not
But
after
Shaq
he extended his knee.
Well, he just hurt his knee. But Shaq is Embiid times 12, right? But the Sixers are not going to win a championship. Embiid might be great, but the Sixers are not playing winning team basketball, right? So I might take Durant, but not to put people in the seats because I think Durant is whatever. Shaq would sell tickets, so from a GM standpoint, Shaq is a huge draw. But for winning championships, the way that the game is played now, I don't know whether or not Shaq would equate to that unless you put the right pieces around him, which I think is what you're saying. Yep. But Durant, no. So I really digress on this one. I love the question because I think about it myself all the time, right? If you've invested in GOATs over the last year, and even put Durant into it because it's been a huge run-up, it's not a crazy thing to think about taking some money off the table on it now, right? Because these guys are all at record prices. But why would you think they're going to stop? Take Durant out of the equation. I think Durant's prices are ridiculous right now. Everybody's going crazy on it because the Nets are going to win. That's fine, right? I don't give them any credit if the Nets win because the Nets, they're basically fielding an all-star team right now. You know what I mean? It's absurd what they're putting out there, which, by the way, I think cuts against Durant. And maybe I'm in the minority. One, if he doesn't win, oh my God. Now it's like he needed to be on the best team ever to win. And even putting him with the best team in the league, he loses. It's bad. Now, if he happens to win, great. He gets another championship, but he had to do it on like an all-star team. You know, it's like it's crazy. So
I think when it's all said and done, there's not going to be a single player even close to playing with the talent that Durant has. Like the Hall of Famers that he's played with. Who knows who's going to be in the Hall of Fame, but there's at least 6 guys I can think of off the top of my head that he's already played with in their prime. So it's a great point, Cage.
You know, we'd say the same thing about LeBron, right? Like he always had somebody there. He paired up with Miami. But was it 2016 where he came back from 3 games to 1, and he basically he went into like turbo mode, man. He became like Megazord, you know, like Megazord Braun, right? Came back from 3-1, had the huge block in Game 7. You know, I mean, for what we say about LeBron, like that was him. That was not anybody else. That was him. You know, he carried his team, and a team that it had 1 or 2 good players on it, but it didn't have like a battery of Hall of Fame players on that team. Durant has not done that. And you could have made the argument that it was just him and Kyrie in the Nets this year, you know, that maybe this was it because Kyrie seems to be the Pippin for the GOATs, right? But now you bring in Harden, all these, whatever. It is what it is. I'm just not a buyer of Kevin Durant. So that's the story there. But for the question, it's fair to think about selling some of your stuff now for GOATs because there has been a huge run-up. But I don't see any reason for the run-up on GOATs to stop because right now everybody is buying the best of the best cards in limited. And I think you might continue to see a run-up throughout this year because of the fractional stuff. This is one of the things you talk about, Andrew. You know, that high-end cards of the GOATs, those are the attention grabbers. Those are the headline grabbers. Those are exactly the cards that Collectible and Rally and Dibs and Alt or whatever the heck else is going to be tomorrow's, version of it. They're always going out there trying to find the Jordans and LeBrons and you name it to fractionalize and maximize the pricing on them. So Durant's, I'd sell Durant.
but I don't own any. I don't own any Durant at all. But for the goats, the real goats, I think you might continue to see some run up on them.
All right, let's move. Right.
Yep.
Dave's card asks, "What's your favorite Buffalo Wild Wings sauce?"
Dave, listen. When it comes to wings, I'm a traditionalist, man. I like just regular buffalo wing, a little hot. You don't have to be like crazy spicy. When I went to college, there was a bar that made great wings, but they had a wing called Suicidal, which was just silly. Like you had to like bring milk with you. You eat the Suicidal and then you had to like drink milk, just to get that burning out of your mouth. I'll take some spicy as much as the next guy, but don't make it so that it's painful. That's kind of silly. That said, Dave, Buffalo Wild Wings got some cool flavors. They have like dry rub flavors, which are pretty good. Out by me, there is a franchise called Wing Zone, which is a different thing. I know there's there's Wing Stop and there's Buffalo Wild Wings, Wing Zone, and they have a Cool Ranch dry rub, which is like basically like Dorito flavor, Cool Ranch on a wing, which is just fantastic. So that there's my little. If I'm gonna go non-traditional, if I'm ordering from there, I'm ordering regular buffalo wings. And now you got me hungry, Dave. What are you doing after me? Yeah,
I think you're gonna like this question here. Okay.
By the way, before I get off that question, Dave, I'm gonna make you jealous. I'll make a lot of people jealous. I put in an order. I got friends coming over. First time we're seeing them, in person since a long time ago, and we have like Christmas gifts for their kids and you name it. There's a UFC event on later, so I put in a Chick-fil-A catering order. I'm gonna down like
wow.
I'm gonna down like 8 Chick-fil-A sandwiches. I ordered it's my family of 4 and their family of 3, 7 people total. So 4 adults, 2 women, 2 men, 3 young children, and I ordered 200 Chick-fil-A nuggets. I ordered 2 dozen Chick-fil-A sandwiches, a dozen spicy, and a little salad platter for the ladies. And you, Andrew, if you show up. So it's Chick-fil-A. I ordered for 7 people, 3 kids and 2 adults. I ordered $384 worth of Chick-fil-A for this evening. So I'm going to be eating Chick-fil-A for a couple days. All right. What's the next question? It's going to make
I mean, I think we should call it right there. That's
yeah, man.
So Dadton 55 asks, I can't be the only one that gets scared when I hear everyone use the same terminology as Gary Vee when it comes to the hobby or NFT. I understand he's a huge influencer in the content creating, but there's a difference between being influenced and marching to someone else's drum. I guess that wasn't a question. Thank you for letting me share.
I love that. Listen, that's a great question because it's
I
not a
knew you're
question,
gonna love it.
but I'm still gonna love it. So every once in a while, I wake up and I read Gary's tweets, and listen, let's give Gary a lot of respect, right? Because he has. Do me a favor, guys. Anybody who follows Gary, respects Gary, listens to Gary, pull up some of Gary's old videos. Pull up some of the wine library videos. Pull up some of the YouTube stuff that he's got out there and watch it. And you know what you will come to? I guarantee you'll come to the conclusion and be like, I would listen to this guy. This is Gary Vee. Like, no, that is a loser, right? That is a loser in those old videos. I don't care what anybody says. I would buy the opposite wine from what that guy is telling me to buy, right? I would never follow that guy. And yet, look at what he is today. That's a cool dude, right? He's confident. He knows what he's talking about. He's speaking about things he seems to, love and understand. So what happened in those years between losery wine Gary with an interesting hairdo to Mr. Five Finger Pied Piper that we all have come to know and love? I don't know. Experience? I don't know. Doing it, sweating, you name it. But it's still the same dude. Still the same guy. Still the same little weird wine pusher. I don't know. So why do we all follow Gary?
I like rookie card Gary from the wine years. I'm a rookie card guy. Yes, I do.
No, because that rookie card is like a scoreboard rookie or one of those other ghetto bootleg rookies that's not actually licensed.
I think people miss the point. Just because other people follow Gary doesn't mean he needs to change who he is. I think he's been consistent and true to himself from day one. That's what I get.
Well, you just tell me how he tastes. So anyway, I'll move along there. So
I don't think I complimented him. All I'm saying is an observation.
You're saying he's been true to true. He's been true to himself all along. True blue, Gary.
Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes. You just gotta wipe your chin.
He's had hot takes from day one.
Yeah, hot takes. All right.
This is a PG podcast. I don't know what route you're going here. I know you're salivating at the thought of your Chick-fil-A nuggets.
No, dude. So listen. The Gary thing, right? I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I don't get it. I do not get it, right? So and when I don't get it, my brain automatically goes to sinister, nefarious, and problems, right? Because listen, Gary Vee runs a multi-million-dollar company, right? And he's got a bunch of other multi-million-dollar offshoots, right? He's in esports. He's got sports agencies now. I mean, the dude's got a lot of stuff. So half of me is like, is he really pumping $150 sports cards? Like, is it? Did Gary wake up and say, "Yeah, I got this multi-million-dollar company to run over here, and this multi-million-dollar company over here, and so but those are boring. I'm going to wake up and pump Luka Doncic today." No, I mean it can't be the case, right? It can't be the case. It just can't. But we've seen with GameStop. We've seen with these herd mentality pumps, scenes, movements that people end up getting hurt. People end up losing money if you follow blindly. So here's the difference, right?
Yeah, but that's not on him.
If Gary recommends something, you shouldn't follow it blindly just because Gary says it. All right? He's saying it because he believes it. He's saying it because he actually thinks Devin Booker, and let's remember his Devin Booker play. He's saying it because he thinks De'Aaron Fox, and let's remember his De'Aaron Fox plays. He's saying it because of all these other scrubs that didn't pan out, right? All these guys that if you bought when he bought, maybe made a little money because just you could have bought any card in the world and made money on it. But not every play that he makes pans out and is 10x, right? But he believed it at the time. There was a rational basis for it. What you need to do is listen to what he says and then do your own homework. You need to do your own research. You need to do your own due diligence. You need to do your own thinking. Don't let someone else's thinking replace yours, because then you're just buying GameStop stock because everybody else is. Then you're just buying AMC stock because everyone else is. And you haven't gone to the theater and realized that popcorn is like 4 weeks old, man. The theaters are empty. Nobody cares. Nobody's seeing movies, but you're buying a stock at like a 10x valuation of what the company's really worth. Don't be that person. And we are dangerously close in this hobby to that happening. Just because Gary says it doesn't mean that it is a guarantee to happen.
Gary says it. Why couldn't you say the same thing and says it's Gary's opinion on who's going to perform well or what cards are going to go up?
Of course, but that is him saying it.
Sure, but like we act like it's gospel.
Well, people do act like it's gospel.
But who's that? Who's that on? Whose responsibility does that fall under?
The person listening, who I'm telling to be careful.
Right. Okay. Just so we're clear, because we're in such a victim culture where we like blame Reddit and everyone else.
No.
Forget
about Reddit. I get you.
I'm clarifying so that the responsibility always falls on you. If you're deploying your money, your hard-earned money into the market will take that money if it's not well researched. No matter if Gary says it or Schmary or whoever says it.
Listen, so he recommended.
You have to be careful, Cage, but the responsibility falls on the investor.
He recommended this Merlot about 6 years ago, and I tried it, and damn, it was terrible. So not everything he says is right, guys. Not everything he says is right.
I'm moving on. It's impossible to have a convo with this guy.
No, listen, the point is right? I mean, he's not putting this stuff out there because he wants people to follow him. At least I don't think so. If he is, he's a criminal mastermind. It's his opinion. I mean, and look, a lot of those cards that he puts out there into the world have gone up. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you don't follow Gary Vee. There are people who follow stock pickers. There are people who follow, Warren Buffett. There are people who follow people who know and have a track record. And, the flip side to this coin is
there are people who invest with people who make picks for them. There are people who invest with people who have a track record of successful stock picking and investing and beating the market. I think it's probably safe to say that Gary has a successful track record in beating the market and picking things that are good investments.
He also doesn't sell plays like Vegas Dave does. He just speaks about what he believes and he educates the market. It's still other people's responsibility to go out and do their own homework and decide what their strategy is. I'm moving. That was an okay answer at best from you. I will keep it moving.
Okay at best. Dude, that's gonna be the most clipped thing, man. I mean, I took a shot at Gary's hairdo, and it's gonna be good
today's
stuff.
hot take response age. You're absolutely right. Ryan Bitter, you're gonna like this one. Cage. Now that we're recovering from the pandemic, things may be normal soon. I'm thinking of re-entering the dating scene. Do you have any general dating advice for me? When do I bring up sports cards in the conversation?
Oh, yes.
If I put out my PC on the first date, is that too soon?
Yes.
All-time question, Ryan. All-time.
I wish he would not have put the sports stuff in there because, of course, then my answer would have been sports stuff. And so you took out the funny answer of it. The question is great, man. Ryan, thank you for that because, this is a fun podcast. But yes, I would tell you on the first date, it's probably smart to keep your PC in your pants. So that would probably be my first piece of advice. But if it's going well, just whip it out. Take that slab out of your front pocket. You should carry it with you, of course, because look, that's your lead foot, man. You're sitting there. I imagine having a good date at the Olive Garden. If the lady strikes your fancy that much, you got to go with the endless pasta bowl on the first date. I mean, you got to show her you're a sport. And take that card out, man. Put it right on the table. And if she's not impressed by it, usually the waitresses at Olive Garden are. So, you can pivot really quick, Ryan. So I'm giving you, gold here for your date, but better than that, like we do with cards, we give you the ability to pivot. And if the date doesn't, if she's not impressed with your Kevin Durant, the GOAT, the best basketball player of all times, rookie, when you pull that out of your pocket, show it to the waitress.
Drake's PC asks, if a card you're wanting to add, for example, has a pop 0 PSA 10, 15 PSA 9s, and 50 PSA 8s, but only a PSA 8 is available, do you buy it to have until you're able to find a 9? Or do you hold off buying until a 9 comes around?
Okay. I buy the 8. Given those numbers, I buy the 8. And here's my thought on it, right? It's almost like fractional buying. It's almost like buying a piece of the 9. Because my thought process on that, there's 15 9s. Who knows when that 9 is going to become available, right? You got the 8 now. And if the 9 goes up, likely that 8 is going to go up too. Instead of hanging on to the money and working your way up and getting more money, chances are that 8 is going to go up in kind with the 9, and it's better than just keeping that money in your checking account, not making anything. And likewise, if the 9 goes down, the 8 will probably go down also, and it matches it. It's a hedge. So I love the question. I will tell you, it doesn't always work out the way you hope it works. I'll give you an example from my own experience. I did not buy the Charizard PSA 10, instead buying a PSA 9. And the PSA 10 has gone up significantly more than the 9. At one point, it was kind of like a 3-to-1 ratio on the 9 to the 10, and it is no longer anywhere close to that. So, don't get me wrong, the 9 has clearly gone up significantly more than what I would have made had I had it in the checking account. But, sometimes those higher grades go up even more. So I love the question, but if only an 8 is available, get that 8 and work your way up towards a 9. And Drake, just to throw another fun one into that, chances are with a pop that low, you're going to be looking at, trying to pry one of those 15 9s away from a true collector of whatever the card may be, whether it's a Pokemon collector, whether it's a collector of wrestling cards. It's somebody who it's going to be hard for you to pry the 9 out of their hands. And I always like to think that if you're making an offer to someone, a cash offer to someone, and they have somebody else on the hook, and they're weighing out the offers to sell their 9, that if you come in with cash and the next best thing, which is an 8, they might be more willing to deal with you. Because, yeah, they're losing their 9, but they're getting the next best thing in the 8. So at least that's my thought process.
Love it. The Boulevard of Cards asks, with so many new players coming into the hobby, along with changes in the grading side of things, do you feel like we also have to update our strategies for shorter periods of time? Can strategies used 10 to 15 years ago still work in the rapidly changing market?
Love the question. You literally need to change your strategy monthly here, if not weekly or daily. Because, yeah, I'll give you a story. And Andrew, I'm sorry, I haven't put you to sleep with this, right? But sometimes I talk myself into and out of fear about the long-term prospects of the hobby in the same conversation without even letting poor Andrew get a word in edgewise. So I was complaining to him about how the PSA pricing increases and just pricing in general and the hobby in general would make it impossible for someone like me who came in 3 years ago to start today, right? And if you guys haven't read the blog on our website, LucaNationNetwork.com, right? Take a read. I have it's a second blog post that I put up. We did a little Topps paper versus Chrome last time, and now we have a little my reaction to the PSA pricing. You'll understand what I'm talking about. And the fear is that somebody coming in a couple of years back, like I did, could buy a bunch of base cards, $5, $10. You know, the 2012 Prism was like one of my greatest, purchases, grades, and flips of all time. And it's just not something that's feasible now because you're not going to spend $50 to grade a card that you're paying $5 for. So I was complaining to Andrew, like, I'm nervous because, the me's of the hobby who are where I am today are there because of 2 or 3 years of flipping my way up to that, right? And buying cards and continuing to color up, kind of like what I'm doing with Top Shot, right? It's the same exact thing. And then I said to myself, wait, just like I'm doing with Top Shot. So this is my answer to your question. It's something that I literally was talking to Andrew about earlier today. And it's maybe I shouldn't be fearful for the hobby because your question means you're exactly thinking the same way that I was, which is you might not be able to make your money the way I did 3 years ago if you're coming into the hobby now. But it seems like every day, every week, every month, there's some other way to get into something in this hobby on the ground floor or in a way that other people aren't. And Top Shot, that's two months ago I got into it, and you could have too, and anybody could have. And you could have gotten in even before that. I mean, I didn't even get in that early.
You could get
right?
into dibs. You could get into dib. I haven't
dibs.
played around with dibs, but you could, right? And I think what's so funny, Cage, I don't know if you agree with this. It's not as much the strategy that needs to change because strategies need to change all the time. It's that people sometimes are hesitant to change a strategy, even if it's simpler than the previous one. So think about it. Before, you would buy cards, you'd have to inspect them, put them in new sleeves, and card savers then send them and they get graded. Now you could just sit on your phone, list, buy and sell cards on Star Stock and make money. Yep. Buy and sell moments on Top Shot. You don't have to leave your house. So, it's actually a much simpler strategy. There's just a bit of a learning curve, and that learning curve often scares people off.
Well, you have to put in time, right? So I've been doing that on Star Stock myself. We'll bring it up in the Star Stock episode coming forward, but I think if you become an expert on 10 or 12 baseball cards, then you can make money this season simply buying and selling on peaks and valleys and taking advantage of raw A versus 9 versus 10. I was doing it this morning. I put in a couple hours of research. And did you know that right now, as we're recording this episode, the PSA 9 Tatis rookie is available for $2 less than a Star Stock A. But the PSA 10 is 3 times the price of both of them. It's an interesting thing. So I am going to chart that out and see how those 3 things travel and see what a week or 2 of the ratio of those 3 cards are. The A versus the 9 versus the 10, and throw in the B as well, right? I'm gonna track them. And I'm going to figure out that those guys travel usually at let's call it a 3-to-1 for the 10 versus the 9, a 4-to-1 for the 10 versus the A, and a 6-to-1 for a 10 versus the B. And I'm going to see if anything comes out of whack. I'm going to see somebody lists one that's way out of proportion for those ratios, or I'm going to see, the A gets ahead of itself, and the 9 is low. I'm going to start buying. I'm going to take advantage of that. And really, It's something I never even thought I'd be looking at a year ago, 6 months ago, or 2 months ago. But I know there will be, if you're willing to put the time in and watch the trends and look for bargains, there will be ways to make money in the hobby. And that is exactly what the question is, right? You know, should we be reevaluating our strategy? Definitely. You have to kind of reinvent it. But there's ways to make money.
I love it. Drake's PC, one more. What do you think the stimulus checks and tax refunds will have on the hobby? What effect? What impact? Will it cause another surge like we've seen earlier this year?
So I think so, because people are still kind of cooped up at home and, you know, wearing masks and doing all this fun stuff. And, you know, if it happens once, sure, it could be a coincidence. It happens twice, you know, there's sort of a pattern forming. And I have a feeling now with the third time, an influx of cash, it's going to go to, you know, breaking cards, breaking packs, breaking wax. And, you know, ultimately that filters all the way up, right? You know, the best example of it is, you know, that stimulus money. It's just like, I'm going to make a Top Shot reference. I am. It's hard not to, because, you know, we have Top Shot groups, and the Top Shot stuff has become, you know, a lot of talked about stuff. You know, my own opinion on it is changing a little here and there. You know, I evolve on Top Shot every day, but someone wrote in that they got a pack, you know, because they just, this past weekend, you know, last night, they released those pre-order packs that came out 2 weeks ago, where everybody who wanted one basically could get one. And I think there were like 230,000 packs. And what they charge on those packs? Were they $9? I think they were $9 for a pack.
9 or 14, I can't remember.
It's $9. I think it was $9, and you got 3 moments. It was $9. And in our Top Shot group, one of our Top Shot groups, by the way, if you want to get in one, just send us a message and we'll get you in. Someone who ordered one of those pre-sale packs, and I think it was the first pack that they had got one, opened it last night. I got a LeBron, and they sold the LeBron for $190. Well, guess what? Those pre-order packs, that's like a stimulus check. That's a stimulus into the Top Shot marketplace, right? It's people who paid $9. They're opening up these moments, and some of them are getting LeBron, some of them are getting Lillard, some of them are getting Quickly, some of them are getting, you know, whoever the heck it's going to be, and they're taking that and they're selling it into the marketplace, and someone else is buying it. And this particular individual who got the LeBron sold it and then made a comment. They said, I'm going to do what I can to continue to get packs, to continue to sell my moments, to continue to move until I can trade my way up to a Zion Series 1 moment. That, I know it's Top Shot language, but it's exactly what I think is going to happen with stimulus money, with more money coming into the hobby, with more people coming into the hobby. It's exactly what I think continues to happen and keeps the hobby strong. Someone who comes in and is able to take a little bit of their money, buy something, flip it, buy something else, flip it, and continue with a goal towards a Grail card or a higher end card. And I think we're going to see it again with the stimulus money, just because that's what we've seen every time people get a check. And it's also, I think, tax return time. So usually that's another time where there's more of an infusion of cash into the market. So.
Love it. Cage, Mr. Tank Top asks, what's your favorite NFT at the moment?
Mr. Tank Top. So I read an article this morning about an audio sex tape NFT that sold for $17,000. So I'm going to say that
you're on one this episode. You're on some shit,
dude. Read it. It was an audio sex tape that was sold on you know, as an NFT for $17,000, and the person who bought it is, I believe, an art gallery owner or you know, somebody. They immediately relisted it for $260 million. I could try to find.
eBay 101.
I guess it definitely is a 101. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, I'm gonna have to say, because that's what's my favorite NFT. That's gonna be it. It's not gonna be. Have you ever heard of Azalea Banks?
Yes, but I feel like she's like someone in culture that no one really knows who she is, but like she's out there in like pop culture or something.
So that's who sold the NFT audio sex tape, blockchain NFT.
You mean it's hers? Like she's on it?
Yeah. Yes, it's hers. So anyway, so there you go. It's a perfect time question. That's going to be my favorite NFT for the for today's episode, because it shows that anything can be tokenized even something as fungible as an audio sex tape. So that's gonna be my favorite NFT of the day. No, so the favorite one.
Your response is my favorite, brother. So fungible.
Fungible. It's a fungible word. Listen, you know what I watched last night? I didn't even realize I was watching it. I watched a movie called Ready Player.
Of the audio sex tape?
I watched Ready Player One. You ever seen this?
No.
Okay, so it is I guess it's a futuristic society where things like Fortnite have kind of taken over. People, they live their regular lives, but basically their escape is almost Matrixy, where they're tapped into this, video game, let's call it, right? And it's a video game universe where their avatars are their people, and it's all, AI done, and everybody's got their Oculus type goggles on, and in that world you could be whoever you want, and there are, you spend your money in that world, and it basically became more prevalent than the real world. Like, people spent more time in this universe than they did in their own, actual existence. And I mean, do I think that's going to happen? No. The fact that it's out there in our conscience, it tells me that the NFT space, that world, that digital world, that tokenized world, it's definitely happening, right? Like, this is not one of those things where I think, wow, this is a fad. This is Beanie Babies. Now, any individual version of this can come and go pretty quickly, but the thought behind it, the utility of it, the skin Fortnite type of thing that we have going on, the fact that the younger generation money spenders who clearly are not adverse to spending their money online on digital goods, digital assets, this is something that's definitely here to stay. And that doesn't mean NFT, that like that Top Shot is here to stay. That may fizzle on itself too, but the whole thing, the premise of it, it is definitely the future of collectibles. So
hey, it's funny. I'm the generation that kind of bridges, Top Shot, but I do remember a time before internet, and you remember like people were scared to put money on the line. People were scared to put money on the web. Do you remember this?
Of course.
Like, they're like, well, what if I put it on, but I can't get it off?
Can't get it out. You can't get the money out. What if it's there and I can never get it? Yeah.
Now we don't even give enough. Now we couldn't get it on the line faster.
I remember the first like online banking account. It was like an orange dot, like ING, I think was the name of it. And I remember my mother being like, I'm not putting my money in a bank that doesn't have a building.
Then I can't run on it.
Yeah, I have to be able to go to the bank and get my money. So I'm like, all right, well, I mean, look how far we've come, right? So, I mean, it's an interesting thing. So as far as like NFTs that I own, I don't own any NFTs outside of Top Shot. So personally, my favorite NFT that I own, it's not the most valuable one. I love the Ja Morant steal from Series 1 because it's just a funny moment where he steals it and does kind of like a little dance, like a little taunt, like I stole it, I stole the ball, I'm winning the game. So I love that one because I think it's the closest thing we're ever going to get to like a meme moment, because the Players Association is never going to let their players look silly on these things. Go ahead.
I think, well, I didn't mean to cut you off. I cut you off with my thought. You could tell it's very cerebral.
Yeah, no, I see you. I can tell you have something to add, so go for it.
Well, I love history, Cage. I love history. And like, after we, won the Revolutionary War, we started owning America. There was this run on real estate, right? We started buying up the best assets, the best properties. Well, if we really need to understand something, the internet's really 20 to 30 years old. It's a baby. It's so new and young. And NFTs are like internet real estate, right? And you're starting to see NFTs with art and music and NBA, but it's really just the beginning. Everything's going to be NFT'd, but at the same time, when everything's NFT'd, nothing's NFT'd, kind of like it evens itself out. But that's what we're trying to do. Really, if you just take a step away from all the buzzwords, we're trying to own internet real estate. And the way you can do that is through tokenization and NFTs. Because before this, there were this amazing pieces of art. There was amazing music out there, but no one owned it because anyone could listen to it. There was no ownership rights. That's how I see the movement, Cage.
Well, listen, I'd love to end Coffee with Cage, unless you have more questions for me, with a question for Luca Nation. You guys want Luca Nation tokens? You want Andrew to figure out how to tokenize Luca Nation for you guys? Would that be something you want? You want a Luca Nation, Lucas, Tigers, and Bronze NFTs? Because if you make enough noise about it, Andrew will find a way to do it for us.
Do you want to hear something hilarious?
No,
So
I only like things that don't make you laugh. Of
I have
course.
an uncle. Cage has met him. He's an incredibly intimidating guy, but he's good
Dude,
at what
this
he
guy,
does. And he has a
he
big
scared
heart.
the shit out of me, that guy. He is a
He's
scary
scared a few
guy.
people on the team, so some are eating him. But anyway, he was back home. So he's a volleyball player. They were playing beach volleyball. He came to visit us here in Mexico, but they went back home to New York, and there's unfortunately like an extended family death. But he met someone at the funeral who's also Daniel, who's in NFTs, who's going to be coming onto our episode next week. And he's my distant cousin, and he's been creating NFTs since basically day one.
Nice. Well, then it shouldn't be that hard for you to come up with the Lucas Tigers. I'll let you continue. I'll let you bring your family onto your own show, as long as they're going to tokenize Luca Nation for them. Nice.
I don't know. The thing is, Cage, when we immigrated here, like everyone was family, even if they weren't family, they were family.
Right. So it's like a cousin who might not be a blood cousin. It's just somebody we call cousin.
But his name is Daniel Norkin, and he's the founder and CEO of Envision Blockchain Solutions. So
here I was thinking Luca Nation was going to demand a Luca Nation NFT, and I was going to be sending you on a wild goose chase to try to do this and give you a real chore. But instead, you're just going to call up cousin Daniel and say, Daniel, son, it's me, Mr. Miyagi. I need some NFTs. Let's go. Oh, that's awesome. It's good stuff. This was a fun one, a little weekend episode, good vibe. But you can ask me to do anything right now because I got Chick-fil-A coming, so I'm in a good mood. You got anything else for me? I mean, I'm having fun with this.
I'll check if there's any last minute questions. There might be one or two, but no, Cage, you're amazing. Here's one. This is a statement though. Like people love your rants. They love your rants. So
except you, people other than you love my rants.
Well, I just don't understand our culture where like hot takes are more valuable than like open-minded discussions. Like everything is, most of the things we talk about are gray area, right? Like Gary Vee, he's not right or wrong. It's the gray area in between, but there's no room left for nuance on the internet. It's just hot takes crush. But Scott DeFacele, Wax Pack Legends, said, Cage, you recently had a great rant about focusing more on having fun in the hobby. In the next few months, what fun are you looking forward to the most?
So next few months, there's a lot of fun out there. I will tell you, I had fun yesterday. I opened a box of Revolution with Ian, and I think we paid $295. It wasn't anything huge in it, but he opened it. He had some fun. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna like this, rookie." And it was someone I didn't like, so he was joking around. It was whoever CJ Ellaby for the Trailblazers, and I seem to get him in every one of the packs that we open. So what do I look forward to in the hobby? I look forward to potentially having some Prism come out, and maybe being able to get some and opening some with Ian. I like opening cards and keeping it a family thing, keeping it something that's there. I got to tell you, I'm a little envious of those of you listening to this from Dallas tonight or tomorrow, or the people who were in Dallas. I loved going to the show in Wayne, and I hope they have another one of them soon that I can go out to. I loved, interacting with you guys. If there's a show coming up soon that we're going to go to, maybe we'll arrange it so that we can have a meetup, with some of Luca Nation. I'll tell you, I'm definitely looking forward to, I'll take this in a couple ways, Scott. So, from a personal standpoint, I want to be able to, go to some shows, go to some stuff and meet you guys, shake hands, take some pictures, talk to you in person, answer these, do a coffee with Cage in person with you guys standing there and shouting out the questions, like I would love to do that. I'd love to meet you guys and thank you all for all of the support, for all the messages that you send, for all of the great stuff. Scott, you especially, I'll thank you personally. I mean, it's funny, you're the one asking the question. My daughter is an aspiring, YouTuber. And I said, if anyone in Luca Nation goes and follows her and, puts a little comment in, write Luca Nation in one of her videos, I'll send you I'll send you a moment, a Top Shot moment. So when gifts open up, you, sir, are getting a Kobe White because you went and you followed and you subscribed or whatever it is on YouTube, and she comes, one of your people, this guy Scott, he put Luca Nation in my and it, it's a small thing, but you guys don't realize that means a lot, right? We're people too, Andrew and myself. We're doing this. We're doing it every day for now 250-ish episodes, and we are more thankful than you guys will ever realize for all the support and all the great stuff that you guys feedback and whatnot you give back to us. So looking forward to meeting every single one of you. On the card front, I'm looking forward to see what happens when we have what I consider an inferior Panini basketball product for the first time in 3 years. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with this draft class. I'm looking forward to seeing if people still break. I'm looking forward to seeing, if prices are sustained, and if they come down, whether people are going to shift to prior years. I'm looking to see the trends. I'm looking to see how people play, cards. I'm looking to see whether, the GOAT money continues, the run on the top stuff continues over the next couple of months. That to me is fun. More fun from a personal standpoint. I'm looking to see who Andrew brings into the Tiger Stripes next, because this guy is always hustling. And, we're thrilled to have, Conrad in our Luca Nation network. And, I imagine pretty soon there'll be somebody else grabbing the Tiger Stripes and being added to the Luca Nation network as well. So I'm looking forward to that. That is a lot of fun. So I took that in
Can I tell you why I'm passionate about that? I don't know if you get this. So at the end of the day, no matter how hard we work, I always feel like there's more content out there. Our hobby is so interesting, is the more you do, the more there is to kind of broadcast and share, because Top Shot, breaks, vintage, MLB, NBA, there's so much different content. It's impossible to keep up with everything. And the only way to do so is through creating a network and bringing creators underneath that umbrella so that we can educate, entertain, what's up, little Ian, our audience. And it's just impossible with two people. So that's my vision. It's a commitment to the audience to add value. And just the two of us, we can make it if we try, kids. But there's so much content out there that I want Luca Nation to keep growing. So that's the vision.
Beautiful. Can't think of a better way to end this one. Thank you guys for all this fun stuff. I mean, the questions alone, there is no episode if you guys don't ask them. And, we love each and every one of you. Thank you.
Send us, take your next post on Cage, Luca Nation Cage, is you eating 212 Chick-fil-A nuggets.
Oh, I'll take a picture. I'll take a picture of the food when it comes.
I'm so jealous, man. You have no idea.
Have a good night. Thanks, Luca Nation.